Hello, everyone, and welcome to the She EmpowHers Podcast, where we talk about the real, the raw, and the rise. Today, I have an amazing guest, and I can't even tell you how excited I am for a couple reasons. First of all, she's a Chicago native, just like your girl. Just having someone from my hometown is super, super exciting to me. But I met her over a decade ago, and I have been following her, and just being able to watch her journey has been so inspiring. So I have this beautiful Chrishon Lampley here from Love Cork Screw. She is here to tell us about her story and her journey being a Black woman winemaker from Chicago, which, if you didn't know, now you know. LoveCorkScrew.com. Amazing wine. Okay, I'm done. I'm just going to jump in it because I'm so excited to talk to her, and I'm letting my excitement get the best of me. Chrishon, how you doing today, girl?
Amazing. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the intro. I'll take it.
Thank you for joining us. So I like to ask all of my guests first question, because we talk a lot about what you do, but the most important part is who you are. Who is Chrishon? So tell the listeners, for those who don't know you and are getting to know you for the very, very, very first time, who are you?
Gosh, so I am a entrepreneur, négociant. That's the word. I am not a vintner. I'm a négociant. And the owner of Love Cork Screw. Gosh, I've been in business 14 years now and growing. I was the first African-American woman to go national with a wine brand in the entire Midwest. So wine, I do wine. And it's just been so fun and challenging and difficult and anxiety-ridden and wonderful and terrible all at the same time. But I always say I'm just here to help as many people as I can get in the industry and learn from my mistakes in my journey.
So thank you so much for telling us about your background. As I said before, I met Chrishon, I don't know. This must have been, now that you say you've been in the business for 14 years, this must have been in the very early beginnings of Love Cork Screw. And so I went to a festival in Chicago, and I was vending with a friend of mine at another business venture many moons ago. And I saw Chrishon, and I was just so impressed. First of all, the wine is fire. And secondly, I had never seen a Black woman selling wine that had made her own wine. It opened my mind up so many possibilities, because I did not even know that that was a possibility. So how does it feel for you to know that people have been following you for over a decade and following your journey? What does that actually even feel like for you?
You know, when you get so in the weeds of everything, the day-to-day, the difficulties, the intricacies, you sometimes have to step back and be like, whoa, I've come a long way. It doesn't hit me until someone says it to me. And when they say, wait, I met you 10 years ago, or I met you 13 years ago, or, oh my God, I've been following you since the very beginning. And when they give me the scenario and what had happened, or where they saw me, or where the wine was, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even think about it. So it's just, I think, getting in the weeds as an entrepreneur, when you're in it so heavy, you kind of have to sit back and really appreciate your own accomplishments sometimes. And I admit I have difficulties doing that. So it's a whirlwind, and it's gone so fast.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. Even now in my seat, I feel like I literally just started. And then I look back and I look at all the progress that's happened just over the last couple of months. So I'm excited to get to where you are when you're a decade plus in and you've seen this empire that you're growing. But have you even thought about the fact of what you represent to other women that see you? Have you thought about that, or do you think about that?
I didn't until, I would say, about 7 years ago. A young lady came up to me, and I actually mentioned this in my TED Talk. She came up to me on the street, just unannounced, like, oh my God, you're the wine lady. And she started crying. And she said, you inspire us. Just keep doing what you know. I don't remember if she was still in college or just had graduated. But to hear a young woman say, keep going because you inspire us, was that changing moment for me. That I realized it wasn't about me. Sometimes our journey is about something bigger and better. And that's when I realized just what I've done to at least push the needle in getting Black women in spaces that we just aren't normally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and speaking of journey, your journey, like most of our journeys, has not been linear, right? It's not like you went to school, you went to college, you're like, hey, I want to make wine, which I really
Right.
want to dig into that because I think a lot of people get discouraged when you start off one way and then you pivot and then you end up doing something else. And so some people stay doing things that they don't love because that's what they started doing and they don't know how to get into it. But talk to us about like, actually, your journey started in high-end sales for, like, Escada and how that even led you to winemaking.
Yeah. So as soon as I graduated college, I went to Western Illinois and I also went to FIT, which is the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. So 2 degrees, came out. My parents had retired already and moved to Las Vegas. So as soon as I graduated, I went straight to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Wasn't sure what to do, but I ended up getting hired by a very high-end company called Christian Dior. So they
Ooh.
hired me in sales right off the jump. And during that time in Vegas, everything was hot. The dollar was banging. So people were
Yeah.
just buying like crazy at that point. We're talking 1996.
Mm.
So fast forward, come back to Chicago, start working on Michigan Avenue. At that time, they would call us the shop girl, right? The sales
Yeah.
associate. So I got into high-end retail like at 21. So it
Yeah.
was this like boom, right? Mind you, I'd
Mhm.
gotten a taste of the good life, if you will, when I lived in New York. So
Yeah.
I was like 20-year-old right downtown 27th and 7 in the heart of Manhattan at school, but seeing Brandy perform her video, like when everything was just super hot and stars everywhere. I'm like, wait, what is this? I
Yeah.
come from a small town in Chicago and
Yeah.
here I'm in the limelight.
Yeah.
Fast forward to working on Michigan Avenue, it was very much of I always treated everyone exactly the same, no matter who they are, no matter what background they came from. And I developed a very, very large book, a very large retail book. So I had
Okay.
millions of dollars in sales at that time. And
Yeah.
when I would get off work, 6 o'clock, my best friend and I, she was a teacher, we would go to these cool restaurants downtown in the Gold Coast. And I would always see people at just large tables doing business transactions and drinking wine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what
Yeah.
is this? I was never really the chug a lug person in college. Me and my girlfriend, if anything, we would do we graduated, we'd do the Cosmos or the Apple Martinis, but I was never really into drinking that heavy, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I saw this, I started getting this thing for wine. I'm like, I got to see what's going on here. So fast forward to me saying, you know what? I'm going to get into something that nobody that looks like us is into. I
Yeah.
started with owning an art gallery called 3Ps. It was painting, pottery, and photography, but we had an entire bar and we won Chicago's best for the best bar. This is after I left the Magnificent
Wow.
Mile. And I wrote the wine list. So I knew I had something here. So that's
Sure.
honestly the quick story of just seeing a space that was untapped by us. Only
Yeah.
a few,
Yeah.
very few, the
Yeah.
Mandela sisters, the Browns, only a very few people have had touched it. And I
Sure.
said, you know what? I want to get into wine. I want to see why is this so complicated or intimidating?
Yeah.
And I did. And that's the short story. Fast forward to now over almost 5 million bottles sold.
5 million?
Yeah, that's the fast story. So that's the quick story. Trust to
Oh
your
my
point,
god.
the journey though, yes, up, down, up, down. When I launched, people laughed at me. How in the world can you be a girl from Chicago and you don't own a vineyard? How are you going to do this? I flew
Yeah.
out, drove out, created custom crush blends, told these farmers I can outsell them in their own product. I used that sales tactic. I learned how to make wine, and that was the start. So everything was so grassroots when I got started. It
Sure.
was a small woman-owned company, distributing my wine, distributing it to one of the largest grocery stores off the jump. So everything was just woo, 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 like the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
way. So my journey has definitely not been straightforward all, at all.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
I mean, but that's the beauty of the story, and I think I've talked about this in so many of the episodes this season about how the peak of one story is the valley of another one, right? It's like
Yes.
as you grow in your journey, like you peak and then you come back down, and sometimes it's not you come all the way back down, but it's like you're starting something completely new, and so you are at the valley of that next peak. And so but talk to me a little bit about being Mita in episode 2 calls it the lonely only. And you weren't the lonely only because you there are other Black women that are specifically winemakers, but like what is some of the resistance that you experience starting and growing? What were some of the growing pains of being a woman and then a Black woman in a industry that's dominated by white men?
Very simple as they didn't think I owned the company. Literally that simple. There's no way. There's no way that you own Love Cork Screw. You must just be the ambassador. There's have to be people behind you. And how did you possibly get into this? You know nothing about wine. So it was a lot
Wow.
of hazing, this challenging every move I made, whether I was at
Yeah.
a festival, whether an event, whether my wine was featured. My wine was featured in Forbes, Time Pair, Wine Enthusiast, the largest publications. I've gotten 89
Yeah.
points with Best Buy with distinction, but that still wasn't enough. Other awards wasn't enough. But they tasted the wine like, but dang, this is good. Wait, and it's
Yeah.
Michigan too? So you have a woman, a Black woman, and wine from Michigan.
Yeah.
Three things just completely going against who I was.
Yeah.
And it's still a challenge, right? Has it gotten better? Absolutely. But
Yeah.
are there still questions? Sure there are. Sure there are. So
Yeah.
it was always a question. And you have to become strong and get a thick skin to decide if you're going to answer them or not and keep moving.
So how do you answer that question?
Very much I've been in the industry a long time. I'm not a
Mhm.
winemaker, I'm a négociant. So that means I take the grapes, I work with the winemaker specifically, and
Mhm.
I create each one of my varietals. At
Yeah.
this point, it's reverse engineering because I've been in it so
Yeah.
long. I created my varietals over 15 years ago. And so Love Cork Screw was made with love. No, I'm not
Yeah.
crushing the grapes with my feet, but I am producing every single varietal that's out. And
Yeah.
again, I was the first to do it in the Midwest as an African American woman. So I will continue growing. And yes, Love Corkscrew is mine. I'm an MBE, WBE, WOSB, ACDBE, every certification you can think of. And it's because
I love that. I love it. Let them know, sis. Let them know. Pop them credentials. So
sometimes you got it. Like you say, sometimes you got to pop out and show something. So
I
there
know
you go.
I know that might be the name of this episode. Sometimes you got to pop out and show.
There's a lot to that. The popping of the cork. There's
Yeah,
a lot to that.
there is a lot to that. That is a lot to that. I mean, and I can absolutely relate. I mean, I'm very early on my journey, but yesterday I was looking at stats about Black women in tech or successful exits or unicorns as they call them in tech.
Yeah.
And they don't have any stats about how many Black women are in tech, but they talk about funding. And they talk about that the stat is 0.34% of VC funding goes to African American women, which is disheartening. It's not necessarily where I'm like, I'm not going to do this, but it's like I understand that I'm walking into a battle, right? Because I am underrepresented. And
Yep.
there have already been conversations where I've gone in the room and I'm asking, like, looking for advice. Hey, can you point me in the right direction? And they point me to a class. And
Always a
I'm
class,
like,
always a cohort, always a learning thing. Yep. But never the money.
yeah, but never
I
the
get it.
money and never the money. So, I completely relate to you. So, speaking of funding, if that's not being too personal, how has that experience been for you? Because I do believe that a lot of minorities and a lot of women, we run up against challenges with being funded for our business because we don't have the connections or the resources. We don't have a rich dad that we can be like, hey, can you give me $1 million before I can start this business? And so, walking
Right.
into as an other asking for money, what has that been like for you?
It has been extremely challenging. I'm just now within the last 3 years getting funding support, getting shareholders. I am incorporated. So it took me
Wow.
years. And still then, do I have some great shareholders? Yes, I do. However,
Mhm.
I've been underfunded this entire time. There's
Yeah.
no way I shouldn't have gotten more money. My
Yeah.
evaluation is strong. The business had been growing for years. There's no way I should
Uh-huh.
not have gotten a lot more money when been in those classes. I've been in those cohorts that have given examples of companies that did an ounce of what
Yeah.
I'm doing and
Yeah.
got way more funding, got millions, and I didn't even get close to millions.
Yeah.
So it hurts. It is a struggle. Sometimes, yes, I feel defeated. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes I feel like me. And then I wake up and then I keep going, right?
Yeah.
Sure, funding will destroy a business. You can have the best
Yep.
idea and it not go through because you lack funding. That simple. Somebody
Yeah.
believing in you. And why do we as Black women have to work harder for the belief? I've seen others
Yeah.
do where they come up with an idea and it fails. And then they get another
Mhm.
10 million to start another idea. Like that.
Yeah. Easy.
But nobody wants to give us another shot and we can have an excellent idea. So it is a struggle. I
Yeah.
don't have the answer. I'm
Mhm.
still going through it. I
Yeah.
do look to sell my company. That is
Yeah.
my whole I'm not going to be 60 years old still owning Love Corkscrew. So
Yeah.
I would like to retire. I would like someone to purchase Love Corkscrew. And at this point, I just got to see how it goes. It's Russian roulette. You just don't know. But you got to keep going.
Yeah. But you gotta keep going. How has the community supported you in your journey? What part has the community played? Both like the community of wine lovers, but also our community. How has that played a part in your business's growth?
It's been great and a struggle. When
Mm.
I first started, it was kind of like when you're the hottest thing in or you're
Yeah.
the newest thing, everybody wants to grab, just like anything new, right? The shiny carrot.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there was a huge cult following at first, and then it,
Mhm.
it slowed down a little bit because then other winemakers were coming to play
Yeah.
that did have more funding than I did, that did have a little
Yeah.
more opportunity than I did. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hi, still here, we're still here. And then I said, all right, game on. And it wasn't
Yeah.
about competition, it was
Yeah.
about I have to make myself seen the best way I can with the lack of funding. So the
Yeah.
community did jump in a lot in corporate. I will say that
Mhm.
I got to do some amazing through the years, amazing tastings, during
Mhm.
COVID time, there was like Google and all these large corporations who were buying my wine and getting it shipped to their home and doing these amazing events where they were
Wow.
sending the wine to their employees, like 300 employees. Like so, there was definitely a time that community jumped in. But what I am honestly saying now is funny, a little controversy here. The community
Okay.
that needs to really support Black owned, support Black owned wine and spirits are the Black owned restaurants, and they don't.
Mm.
We
Really?
are not on their menus. We should be their entire menus, and we're not.
Yeah.
There are amazing Black owned gin, vodka, every single category, whiskey,
Yeah.
wine, champagne, beer
Yeah.
that is Black owned. And there's some spectacular ones, but
Yeah.
we're not on the list because we're not easy. We're not easy to grab at. And so
Mm.
I am reaching out to that community now because I also own the Sip and Empower Foundation, which is a nonprofit that helps women and BIPOC own wine and brands. I'm also the vice president of the African American Association of Vintners. So I'm there with the winemakers, with the
Yeah.
négociants, with the brands. I know them all, every last one
Yeah.
of them. And we all say the same thing. We need
Yeah.
help. We need help putting
We
out
need
there.
support.
And the support of the Black owned restaurants would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying, and I'm not even gonna go on a tangent because we'll literally spend the entire time talking about that. But one of the things that we talk about in in our community is how we lack the support of each other. So
Yes.
what can we do in order to, like, for those who don't have restaurants, what can we do in order to be more supportive, not just of your business, but other Black owned businesses? How can we be more supportive from your perspective?
From my perspective, is a couple of things, and without getting on a tangent, I'll just name like a few areas. Number one, give grace. I think we
Mm,
tend to jump on when a
girl.
Black business messes up. We tend to
Mm-hmm.
we are so boisterous about it. We're so vocal about it. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But one of the mainstream establishments, you don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that bugs me. So if we can give grace,
Mm-hmm.
and understand that an incident is not necessarily the brand or the brand owner.
Yeah.
I can't control everybody that's doing a tasting around the entire country of Love Cork Screw. I can't watch them.
Mhm.
I can't be everywhere. So don't ding me and like, Chrishon, you suck because an ambassador in Idaho didn't serve the wine properly. Like, come on, give me some grace. But
Yeah,
in
yeah,
addition to that, the simple, easy thing is the power of the share.
yeah,
Sharing that you know. Don't hold on to us because you want to hold on to the hottest thing and not tell everybody else. Because
yeah,
there's so many more people that don't know I exist. There's so
Yeah.
many people that hit me up all the time that just started following me on social, and they're like, "Didn't know." There's people in Chicago that don't know I exist. So
That's
it's the
crazy.
power of share. It's crazy. Restaurants
That's
too.
cr-
It's crazy. You can literally can
that's
Google
ins-
black woman wine Chicago. My face is like
be
so
the
there's
first
like
thing.
literally on the first picture.
Yeah.
So it just has to be the power of the share. I
Yeah.
always share. When I meet somebody that I respect their business, I'm forever saying, y'all, yo, buy this, get
Yeah.
this because
Yeah.
it's awesome. So it's the power of the share. We're all on
Yeah.
social platforms all the time.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about a great brand you know. Support
Use
us,
your
small.
So, what I'm hearing you say is use your power wisely. Like, I will share a gift, I will share a meme, I will share a funny story. I can dedicate some of my time to actively and intentionally sharing brands that I come across. I will say that I do that, but I could do it more.
Right.
And so,
Yeah,
but I can, and I will make sure that I share that when we talk when we talk about the podcast. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say it now to make sure. So one of the things that Chrishon is saying is the way that we can support these businesses is to actively and be intentionally about our practice and how we use the power and the platform that we have. And so if we are just saying like we want to
intentionally.
see more money distributed within our community, then on a weekly basis we can say once a week I'm going to share a black brand that I have engaged with that I would like to support, that I would like people to be more aware of, and that I would like for them to start to engage with. So I'm going to make
Ding
it
ding.
my mission to do it for 52 weeks. And I'm going to start next week. I'm going to do it
I
for a year.
love that.
And ev-
It
and
could
I'm
be a
going to
story a
challenge.
week.
It could be a story a week.
It
And I'm
could be
going
a
to
story
challenge
a week.
other people to do the same. I'm going to challenge because they're 52. And then and I will curate on my private, platform, like lists of places and things that I would like to do that I can share with other people because like you said, is the power to share. And I'm experiencing that myself. Not with people just engaging with my brand, and I'm still new. I'm a baby. As a matter of fact, I'm still in the birth canal. I haven't even made it out into the world yet. But I'm surprised by the people in my circle who have not engaged, who have not shared, who have not, and I'm like, I've known you for 20 years.
Right. You're like, how?
How? But I'm like, hey, I'm not going to let that stop me, but I definitely understand. So we're definitely going to slice that piece of the content because I think it's important that we learn these things don't grow on their own. Like, yes, they will grow organically, but we have to be intentional about the things that are important to us. And if supporting and maintaining these businesses are important, then we have to be a part of that. So thank you for sharing that with us because I feel like it's very, very important. We got a little bit political, so I'm going to go back onto the mental health side because that's my jam. So you are an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. There are other people who are going to be listening to this podcast that are either thinking about it or they're starting it themselves. And I know
Yes.
that this is not an easy journey. So what are some of the things that you can do? So I'm going to ask you two questions. One is on the practical side. What are some of the things that you learned on your journey that you're like, man, year 5, you were like, I really wish I knew that year 1. Like, dang it. Why did nobody tell me this? So that's my first question. And two, like what are some of the practices that you do to maintain your mental and emotional wellness as you go on this journey to make sure that Chrishon emotionally and mentally stays healthy and your cup stays full? So we can talk about the first one first. What do you wish
Yes.
somebody had told you or you had known?
Yes. To definitely have a reserve for contingency.
Mm,
Reserve for contingency.
okay.
Whatever you read that said, I need this much to start this type of business, have it times
Mm-hmm.
3
Mm,
because something is going to go wrong, I promise you. And you're going to lose money somehow. Promise
yeah.
you, whether it is a bad photographer, whether it is a bad product, whether
Mm,
it is an event that you thought was going to make money and didn't. So I'm talking about different things. It could be a consumer product good or it can be a service.
yeah.
Something is going to go. You spent a whole bunch of ads on social that didn't pan out.
Mm-hmm.
Something is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So if you have a reserve for contingency, at least 3 times what a textbook says, I feel
Yeah.
confident you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And if there's a
Yeah.
part 2 to that, a bonus to that is don't try to grow so fast, so quick.
Ooh,
Slow down.
tell me. Slow
Slow
down.
down.
Okay.
Because what happens is, in the best way, a very, very wealthy person told me this. They said, Chrishon, you're trying to be everywhere. But they said, look at it like you have a magnifying glass on a newspaper. Hold it in one location. Because if you keep moving
Mm.
it around, it'll never catch fire. But if you hold it in one place, best advice I ever got. Best advice I ever got.
So good. That is so good. And I can okay. So you just read me a little bit. Mind your business, girl. Mind your business.
I tend to do that a lot to a lot of people. People are going to watch this back like, dope, you got me.
You
Yep, I
got
see
me.
you.
Because so 2 weeks ago, I called my sister and I was like not having a good day. I was so stressed out. I was like, I'm looking at all of the metrics every single day. I'm looking at the wait list. I'm looking at the social media followers. I'm looking at the engagement for the email. I'm looking at all these metrics. And I'm like, is anything happening? Am I getting momentum? Am I making any traction? I need all these things to happen so that investors will be interested in the business and they will want to invest. And she said, you started 3 weeks ago. She said you went live 3 weeks ago. Now I've been
It
working
takes
on
like
the back
a
end.
year for some people. It's like, slow down. It'll be
Girl.
okay.
She said and that's
It'll be
exactly what
okay.
she said. She said, slow down. It will be okay. And
It'll
theoretically and realistically, I know that these things take time. It takes time to
Yes, they
build
do.
brand presence. It takes time to build resonance. It takes time for there to be some engagement.
Yes.
However, when you're sitting there in the seat and your life is dependent upon how successful this thing is, it's
Yes, I
very
get it.
easy to get wrapped up in where you are today. And she got me together. You got me together too. Like, slow down. Because the other thing is if you scale too fast, you don't have the support, the system in place to support the growth. And
Correct.
I have seen that with so many companies, larger companies, or successful companies, somewhat semi-successful companies, they have something that goes viral and then they don't even have enough inventory to actually cover all of the orders, or they
There's
don't have the
plenty of case
infrastructure in
studies.
place to support all of the
Yes.
business. Yeah. And so it's like, a cautionary tale. And so as, I or other business owners are looking to grow and to build and to scale businesses, what about the mental health? Like, what about the mental journey or the emotional toll? How do you balance and manage that? What do you do for yourself?
Okay, so mental health,
That's okay.
I'm going nuts. I hope you heard that part.
Yes.
I'm going nuts. That's the mental health.
Yeah. You
That's
said
the
I'm
mental
going
health.
nuts.
There is more.
Okay.
I'm going nuts.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna lie. When business owners are like, I'm fine and I meditate and everything's great and I'm able to turn it off and be with my family and kids and blah, blah, blah. That's not me. I'm going nuts. I forever look at my phone. I forever am looking to see if I got that email that I've been waiting for, or that call,
Yeah.
or that text, whether it's good,
Yeah.
whether it's bad, whether it's ugly, whether it's fantastic. It never turns off. There's never a moment
Yeah.
where I'm like, got it, and it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie
Yeah.
about that. And I
I
want any
appreciate that.
entrepreneur listening to that to feel what I'm saying. And that's okay that you feel that way, because you're not alone. You're not
Yeah.
alone. I'm not going to be satisfied until I sell the company and I'm
Mm.
able to say, I can sit on the board, I can collect a
Yeah.
salary, and be like
Yeah.
Eartha Kitt from Boomerang. Until then, I am going to be crazy. And that's
You're gonna
just
be
that.
crazy. But I feel like that okay, so accepting that though is actually part of, I think, your mental health, your mental wellness, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you were fighting against that and you're like, no, I'm trying so hard and nothing is successful. Okay, well then I'd be like, well, I'm gonna send her a book because I think sis would benefit from it. But I think I love the fact that you said, hey, this you have accepted, hey, this is where I am right now.
Yeah.
And I am okay with that. And this is normal for me. I think there is no such thing as normal. Let's just talk about that. There is no such thing as
No.
normal. It is what works for me. And what works for you today in 2025 of October may not work in 2027 of March. Who knows? But right now you're like, this is where I
Correct.
am. And I am absolutely okay with that. And this isn't your first business, right? You say
No.
you owned an art gallery before,
I
right?
have. I
And
did.
your art
I did.
gallery, you had an interesting exit with that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like, what happened?
So the super short story, we had a terrible flood. It closed because of simply the condo owners above us flushing non-biodegradable baby wipes down the toilet, flooded into our storefront. We shut down and we didn't have the proper insurance to cover it. My business partner and I at the time, it was like a horrible
Oh.
divorce. Like because it happened, we fell out. Just didn't know what to do with it, right? When you work so hard to develop something together, we were joined at the hip forever and it just didn't work out. She's now successful in what she does. I'm doing what I'm doing. But I learned from that
Mhm.
you could be at the top and what goes up can definitely come down very quickly. However, if I hadn't have done it,
Yeah.
if I hadn't owned that gallery, I didn't
Mhm.
grow up in the city of Chicago. So I was able to meet
Mhm.
everyone that end up to this day some of my best friends, some of my biggest supporters, some
Mm.
of the people that helped me launch Love Cork Screw. I met them at that
Yeah.
place. So I say that to say each
Yeah.
transition that happens, you're not sure what it's going to lead you to. And it led me
Yeah.
to get definitely a thick skin and to know that,
Yeah.
again, I have another purpose. I have more to do. There's maybe something bigger, something better. I don't know, but let me keep going. So yes, I've
Yeah.
been here before. I've failed.
Yeah.
I've failed and lost a business before.
Yeah.
So it's definitely growth and realizing what to do better next time.
Mhm.
And I've learned along the way with Love Corkscrew.
Yeah.
If I still love Corkscrew and I might decide to continue something else, I've learned some lessons here as well.
Yeah. So I failure is such an important lesson in my opinion, and people run from failure like it's just this horrible thing. And I feel like the
Yeah.
failures are the best teachers for me anyway, right? So what did your failure with your art business and bar teach you that helped you with Love Corkscrew?
I would say when I was going through it, a good friend of mine said to me, "You can't control the uncontrollables." And it seems like such a simple statement.
Oh,
But when you really dive into that
yeah.
statement, you can't control the uncontrollable. There's some things you just can't control. I could not have controlled that flood. What was
Yeah.
I'm supposed to
Yeah.
know that somebody's going to flush baby wipes down the toilet? Twins? A set of twins? How am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know that?
Right.
So sometimes you have to get out of your own head. Sometimes you have
Mhm.
to let things go and move forward. And it's okay to cry or be disappointed in that moment because then you're not human if you're not.
Yeah.
But if your heart is
Yeah.
still beating, you still have a purpose. So you got to keep.
Yeah. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. That's
That's it.
amazing. That's the secret sauce, right? Is it's not failing, it is the failure to get back up after you failed, which is where people mess up, really, literally. I
Yes.
don't know how to say it any more eloquently than that.
No,
Because we're all going to fail. You're not going to be successful at first at bat at everything, or second at bat, or first season, or second season, or first
if so,
idea, or
that's
second idea.
0.5 of the world, right? That's 0.5 people in the entire world that are,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Right. And so
Right.
you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because until you get to the point where you coast, where you're coasting, which at what, like whoever is really coasting, I feel like when you coast, you're about to die, really, to be perfectly
I
honest.
swear.
And maybe that's a little bit morbid of me, but like as long as you're learning, you're going to be uncomfortable and I don't mind it, you know? And so, like, if you're just coasting, that is a type of life where you're just existing. And in
And it's
order
not a
to
safe
really
space.
thrive, yeah.
It's not
Yeah. And entrepreneurial, it's not safe.
at all.
It's not meant to be safe. Yeah. And so when we were on our pre-interview, you talked about how your dad, actually you got your entrepreneurial spirit from your dad, who was an entrepreneur. So tell us about your experience with your dad and what you learned from him about being an entrepreneur.
What I learned about my father is his resilience because he was not successful as a business owner. He was successful
Mhm.
as a VP. He was successful at helping
Mhm.
other entrepreneurs, people of color, get contracts and become very successful entrepreneurs. But he never was able to get something going right, whether it was a failed partnership,
Yeah.
whether it was
Mhm.
a failed idea. It just never
Mhm.
jumped off. But what I loved watching him do was he kept going and he would try something else.
Yeah.
and try again.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from him,
Mm-hmm.
his resilience. My father passed away February, was
My
the
condolences.
bravest, thank you, the bravest, most amazing man in my life. I'm married to my mother for 54 years. He took care of us like
That's
no
incredible.
other. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be who I am to this day. Not even close. Not even close. So the
Yeah.
resilience,
Yeah.
the tenacity, and the know to keep
Mm-hmm.
going was all on my father.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where you get that drive from. You're like, oh, next business, keep going.
Next, yep,
Try it
try it out for
again
2 minutes and get up.
and push forward. But what an amazing blessing that even though he wasn't successful in his endeavors, he was actually successful in his endeavors because
Exactly.
he was successful through your success. So he got a chance to experience the success through Love Cork Screw, and he got a chance to see his baby girl be successful. And what an amazing gift it was that you gave to him.
The best
That
thing
is
was
incredible.
March of 2020, right before COVID. He was able to watch me. He flew
Okay.
into Chicago because they live in Vegas. He flew into Chicago and he watched me do my TED Talk. And my mom said he was in the audience crying like a baby. And that I'll never forget.
That's incredible. That is amazing. And it must have been an amazing feeling for you too, right? To be able to experience those highs with your father, those moments that you've worked your whole entire. First of all, I didn't even know you had a TED Talk. So you said that before. So now I'm like, I got to go watch your TED Talk. So you need to give me a link so I can link it in the show notes. Like if you guys want to see Chrishon's TED Talk, here you go. Go ahead and watch it. What was your what was your talk about? I'm just curious. What was your talk about?
Oh gosh. So the title is How Success Screwed Me.
Give it to us.
A
Give it to
take
us.
on Love Cork Screw. How Success Screwed Me. And it will take you through my
Oh,
journey. Uh-huh.
okay.
A little wordplay
I get
here.
it now. Girl, you and these words.
It's a wordplay. But it takes you through a journey of my ups and downs, and it makes
Yeah.
everything make sense. I'll tell you this,
Okay.
for any of your listeners that watch it, I guarantee you
Yeah.
half of them will cry because it
Really?
is a journey that I take you through, and it's quite powerful.
That's amazing. So congratulations on being selected to do a TED Talk. That's
Thank you.
absolutely incredible. It's definitely one of my goals. So if you have any tips for a girl, just let me know. How did you even get selected to do a TED Talk? Did you submit or did somebody kind of stumble upon you at something at another event and they said, "Hey, Chrishon, I want you to be on this TED Talk."
Yeah, pretty much the latter. It was speaking at a lot of engagements. I was doing a lot of public speaking before COVID. A lot of
Mhm.
women conferences, definitely in the wine space, but then also in the educational space. I did
Okay.
several keynotes as well. So
Okay.
people knew I could talk, right? Like the people knew
Yeah.
that, okay, if she gets in front of a few thousand people, she's got this. And I always say I'm more comfortable
Sure.
on stage because I grew up in musicals. So I'm more comfortable on
Mhm.
stage than I am in front of a one on one.
Really?
So, yeah, I just always had that thing to be on stage. So, yeah, I just got invited and I said, "What? That's on my bucket list. Let's do it." And the fact that I was able to do it literally a day before the world shut down with COVID. So, my TED Talk was literally March 15th, I believe. The world shut
Wow.
down the next
It
day.
absolutely did. It absolutely did. It absolutely did.
The next
That
day.
is and
So,
that
yeah.
is the timing of it all. Where was your
Yes.
talk? Was it in Vegas or was it in Chicago?
It was in Chicago. It was
It was
Chicago. It was at the DuSable Museum, and
wow.
it was incredible. And just that
Yeah.
experience was incredible. Yeah, it just literally, they were like, after that, we're canceling all events, all galas. Everything was canceled literally after my TED.
So, question for you as it pertains. So, the world shuts down. It's pandemic time, and things are
Right.
closing, and nobody even knows what the hell is about to happen. Like we had
Right.
no idea. We thought we were about to be inside for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprise! It was a
Yeah.
little longer than two
Not even
weeks.
close. Right.
How did your business fare? Did you see a spike? Because we were all home, we were definitely drinking, I certainly was. Or did you have to pivot in any way? How did your business fare through the pandemic?
So at first, because I wasn't as easy to find and easy to purchase, my business started
Mm.
failing tremendously at first. Literally, I lost 85% of my accounts because they were shutting down because of COVID. So the stores were shutting down. Then it got bad from the looting that was happening. There was a lot of looting in Chicago. So a lot of stores are getting
Wow.
broken into. Of course, my stuff is getting stolen just like everybody else's, right? So these
From
stores are having
restaurants?
to revamp.
I said
Yeah.
from restaurants?
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
grocery stores, everywhere, liquor stores. It was crazy what was happening. And
Yeah.
a lot of it had jumped off due to George Floyd.
Mm. Mm.
So then after that happened, it was this mad dash to support Black owned.
Mhm.
So literally in a matter of weeks, my business went from 3 states of distribution to 18 states because everyone wanted a Black woman in wine.
Ugh,
So it was an amazing and unicorn time, meaning
yeah.
that was one of the best years I've ever had
Yeah,
fiscally, like literally one of the best years I'd ever did in making money.
sure.
But it wasn't realistic because
Right.
once the world opens up, now we're back to normal, right? So my sales went like it tanked and then went skyrocketed
Yeah.
and then went
Yeah, slowly came back down.
because then we weren't considered at that point the hot thing. Then there was something else that
Mm.
happened. So then a different community was hot. So then all of a sudden, okay, wait, but we're not supporting Black owned anymore. We're moving on. And then now we're at this point where the DEI supplier diversity is getting completely dismantled. So it's COVID was interesting. It was
Yeah.
definitely a learning of technology that I did not know. I was not a Zoom person. I've never used Zoom in my life. Now I'm like a Zoom expert, right? So it was one of those things where it was technology, a time for me to sit down, be at home, do things I
Mhm.
never did before in front of the computer because I was always out.
Yeah.
But one more little drab part, I literally lost $40,000 worth of contracts to speak because those events were
Right.
canceled. So
Right.
it was, let's just say that I'm happy to have made it through. I'm happy
Yeah.
to be alive. I'm happy
Yeah.
that my parents made it through. I know
Yeah.
personally people who did not make it through.
Yeah.
Whether it be business or actual people that passed away. I know so,
Sure.
so many parts that happened that time. But
Yeah.
I think somebody touched on this in an article or something I saw where they were like, you know what? Did we ever really truly talk about how it still affects some of us? And that's the part that I
Mm.
think we forget, right? Because it's like out of sight, out of mind because of everything else
Yeah.
happening in the world. But
Yep.
there's so much that still maybe affected us mentally that we have to sit and kind of come to grips with.
Oh my gosh. I mean, 100%. Maybe mine wasn't as drastic as what you experienced because my business wasn't tied to it, but I did get laid off. Like when you said the world shut down on the 16th, you know how I know? Because 2 weeks later, I got laid
Yeah.
off because of COVID. And I was so shocked because the business that I worked for was a tech company that predominantly sold a technology inside of grocery stores, restaurants, and clothing stores.
There you go. Wow.
And
Wow.
so, same, as soon as that happened, business was just like, contracts was just like, hey, we know we owe y'all, but we can't pay you anything because we
Yep.
don't even know when we're going to be open. And
Yep.
so I'd gone a one-on-one with my boss at the time, and he's like, hey, I'm like, hey, he's like, yeah, so today is going to be your last day. And I was like, shocked. But I will say that, I also, me and my husband, actually, I think if it wasn't for COVID, me and my husband probably would not be together because we got laid off on the same day and we spent months together. Months together. Just he
Yes.
and I, because everything was closed and
Yes.
his dealership was closed and I wasn't working. And we literally just hunkered down and did versus dates and taco dates.
Yep. Same.
And I came out of the pandemic with a man, girl. So it was just like,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
but on the
Same.
flip
Same.
side,
And some people did not, right?
and
Some people went through
ooh,
divorces. Some
Yes,
people,
they did.
I can name about 20 couples I saw that divorced because of COVID, because they're finally locked in together and like, wait, actually, I don't like you. So like,
Yeah.
it's like, it was just like this. It was just so much that happened. I'm like, we're not
It was
talking about this. And I'm not saying let's hold on to it, but I am saying it
sure,
does
sure.
affect entrepreneurs to this day. It does affect some
Yeah.
people to not become entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's just so much, so many moving parts to it that, we
So
just
many
have to
moving
recognize.
parts. Yeah,
Yeah.
including passing. I had a guest
Yes.
earlier this week who lost her mom during COVID. I lost my stepsister to COVID. And so like those things don't go away. My nephew still doesn't have a mom,
Right.
and this guest that I had, her children don't have grandparents. And so there are the emotional tolls, the financial tolls, like you said. And I think we were so happy to be out of it that we were just like, oh my gosh, let's not talk about it anymore. But
Right.
it's like
It just didn't happen. Right.
but PTSD is real, and I do think that a lot of us suffer from PTSD from COVID, just like we do other things, wars
Agreed.
or traumatic relationships. And it's like we need to do better at prioritizing, as we call them, courageous conversations and talking about the things that we're thinking about that need to get out, and then
Agreed.
to really talk about them. So I know we're gonna run up on time because I know you are a busy, busy woman and you got a lot of things to do, but I got a couple more questions for you. So can I ask you like 2 or 3 more questions?
Sure.
Okay. Yay, thank you. So you lost your father, and again, my condolences on the death of your dad. He sounds like he was just absolutely incredible, and he's raised a beautiful woman, a beautiful daughter who is an incredible force. So I already know he was incredible. I didn't even have to meet him. But one of the things we talked about during our pre-interview was the fact that not only are you a newlywed, not only are you an entrepreneur, but you're also a caregiver.
I
So
am.
you are doing a lot, and I think that that represents the lives of, especially as we get a little bit older, right? We're caregiving in both directions.
Yes.
That is a lot of responsibilities and requires you to flex in a lot of different ways. Talk about how you're managing all of the responsibilities while still staying true to yourself.
I'll be honest, I don't know if I am handling them right yet. I
Okay.
think because I'm still grieving or
Mm,
I haven't grieved yet. I don't know what that looks like yet
yeah.
because I have to make sure my mom is good. And she's
Yeah.
84 years old. She lives in Las Vegas. I'm trying to navigate being a newlywed. It's weird. We're an old couple who just got together late. So there's
Yeah.
adjusting there.
Yeah.
There's also trying to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
and not failing. So I feel like I'm being pulled in 3 crazy directions that
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've grasped yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that's gonna show up. I'll be very honest.
Mhm.
I don't know if one day I'm just gonna get in the middle of the street and just ball out crying, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna happen 10 years from now, and I'm like, "Well, what did I do?"
Yeah.
Or, "Could I have done something better?"
Mhm.
Or there's still back of little birdies like, am I making my father proud? Am I taking care of my
Mm.
mother the way she needs to be taken care of? I have so many things. Am I being a terrible wife? There's
Yeah.
so many things going on in my head that I
Yeah.
can't answer that yet. So I will
Sure.
say, I know it's life. I
Mhm.
know, being 51, I'm 51 years old. Being a 51-year-old woman, I knew it was coming. It just
Yeah.
is what it is. And the one
Yeah.
thing I would never do is ever
Mhm.
stick my mom in a home. So it's
Mm.
going to be
Love that.
me flying back and forth. So I'm 2 weeks in Chicago, 2 weeks in
Yeah.
Las Vegas, sometimes 3 weeks
Yeah.
in Vegas, 3 weeks in Chicago. So I have
Yeah.
2 homes. And I have to try to navigate those the best I can. Am I being perfect at it? Absolutely not. But am I
Yeah.
trying my hardest? I absolutely am.
Oh my gosh. You couldn't have said like if you had scripted that, I don't think it would have been any better. That was beautiful. And can I just say how strong and courageous and amazing I think you are for your honesty and transparency, because I think a lot of times people want to pretend or say that they have it all together, have it all figured out. Well, this is how I manage all of that. But the fact that you said I don't know yet. I'm still in it. That's the messy middle we talk about all the
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
honestly, you are going to set so many women free by just those words, because there are other women who are in the middle of their mess, as beautiful as it may be, and are drowning with even trying to pretend like they have it all together and just saying like, I don't know yet. Like, even when I asked you about your mental health, you're like, nah, girl, I ain't got that figured out.
Nope.
I
I'd
don't, and
be
I'm not gonna
like,
pretend.
yes, I'm going to do my yoga tomorrow morning, and I'm going to, no, that's a lie. No, I'm not. I'm going to get up with anxiety, drink my coffee, take my dog for a walk. And like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. And that's just
Listen,
real.
you just set so many people free, myself included, because I think we want to have it all together. We
Of
do. We just
course.
generally want to
Of
have it all
course.
together, and we want to
Of course.
present that we have it all together, because I don't know why. Honestly, I don't know why. Maybe it's the societal expectations. I'm gonna talk about this for a second. I think it's part of it is the societal contract that the culture has with women, whereas we feel like we have to have it all together. I know men have their own burdens and responsibilities, but I think because like Aisha Curry, the podcast this week, just really kind of explains it beautifully. She is this beautiful woman who has this wonderful family, and the internet roasted her. It was like heresy for her just admitting that, yes, I have this life. I love my husband. I love my kids. This is not what I wanted, right? Like, how dare she not be grateful for the life that she lives, that so many other people are working so hard to aspire to? Because what happens when you have perfection and you still don't love it? Oh my gosh, shame on you. So I think that there is,
Yeah.
especially for women, this pressure about us having to be perfect or wanting to be perfect because of the societal pressure of motherhood or being able to balance these multiple things and what it might represent that we can't. But fuck, we can't balance everything at once. Like, we're not magicians. That's
We can. And let me
unrealistic.
say one more
So,
thing that's probably going to set some
yes,
free. Let me say one more thing that's probably going to set some free. Prior to
please
being
do.
married,
Yeah.
I've had so many girlfriends that were married before me. So I'm the one of the last, right? And after I got married,
Uh-huh.
it was almost like I just entered into this like additional sorority. I'm a sorority girl already. But I got into this additional sorority of all of a sudden these married women telling me that their husbands are crazy. And I'm like, why didn't y'all tell me this before? Like, why all of a sudden did this open up Pandora's box? Now you tell me? Now you tell me. Wait, you're telling me you're going through some of the same exact crazy stuff I'm going through? Like, why did you tell me this? So it's just so funny. Like, I'm like, what is happening? Like, so it's like this, when you're a single girl or you're just dating or have a boyfriend, we're not going to
Yeah.
tell you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? So
No.
I think there's this I say that to relate back to the Curry situation, that look, what may look great on the outside, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So don't
You have no
ever wish
idea.
your life was somebody else's, because you have no clue
Mm.
what they're going through.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily something
Yes.
so awful, right? Doesn't have to be abuse,
Sure.
doesn't have to, they just may not be happy.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
know.
You don't
And that's it.
know. You don't know. Listen, we can end there because that was a bar in and of itself. You do not know what other people are experiencing, and the
No.
only thing that you can control or should be worried about is what's happening behind the four walls of your own house and your own home.
Yourself.
And
Yourself.
your
Yes.
you took the words literally right out of my mouth. Okay. So I'm going to ask you one more question and then I'm going to wrap it up. But I like to ask my guests the same first question and the same last question. So for the women listening to this podcast, you will survive if you remember blank. What would you tell them? You will survive if you remember.
That it's not about you.
Mm.
Sometimes it's about the people around you. So when you get so caught up in you lose your perspective that maybe it's somebody else's lesson. Maybe it's somebody else's.
I don't, maybe it's somebody else's lesson. Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. I mean, I'm not even gonna, normally I would add something to it. I'm done. I'm done. Girl, where can people find you?
You can find me on IG, Facebook, Love Cork Screw. No dots, no commas in between, just Love Cork Screw. Of course, I would love for you to support by going to lovecorkscrew.com. On there, you can purchase and literally we ship everywhere in the country. Or you also can see our locations and pick up a bottle near you. If we're in the area, it'll say it. If we're not, it'll say order it online.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chrishon. You have given me a lot of food for thought as an entrepreneur. You got me giving me some things to think about, to consider. But I just want to thank you again for your transparency and your vulnerability and really being honest about where you are in so many areas of your life. I really truly do believe that women are going to hear this podcast and be set free in multiple areas where they may be struggling with perfection, and just saying like, hey, you do not have to have it all right and all perfect in order to have joy and happiness. So this wraps up the last episode of this season, our first season of the She EmpowHers podcast and the season of becoming. And I think, honestly, you were the perfect guest to wrap us up. So visit us at www.sheempowers.com. We are She EmpowHers on almost every platform except Instagram. But if you go to our website, you can find us. Thank you so much. And we will see you next season. Thank you.